as I speak this morning, I don't speak for the APC. Even when I was working with the former governor, His Excellency Adegboyega Oyetola, I try as much as possible to ensure that I don't dabble into the affairs of the party. And so I need to make it very clear that I am not holding brief for the APC. I haven't said that. I am aware of the development in Osun, and I'm also aware that there has been back and forth over the judgment of the appeal court. And if you recall the days of Peter Obi in Anambra State, Peter Obi also came into the court, and while he was battling with his case at the court then, the INEC fixed election, and I think the PDP went ahead to feed Andy Barr as its candidate. And after the election, the court ruled that as at the time Andy Barr was contesting that election, there was no vacancy. And so if we go by the recent happenings in Osun, I want to believe very strongly that APC may have taken the decision it took because it believed very strongly that there is no vacancy as at today in the councils in Osun State.
Okay, so let's talk about exactly now the APC, and we thank you for clarifying the fact that you're not speaking for the APC. But the APC has opted out of the elections. Do you, by any chance, know if the elections will still hold tomorrow in Osun State?
As a matter of fact, as at yesterday, before the Attorney General of the Federation issued what can be described as his legal opinion, the state government had gone ahead to prepare every grounds for holding of the election tomorrow. Now that the Attorney General has issued a legal opinion, I am yet to hear from the state government. But as a journalist and as a public affairs analyst, just this morning, around shortly before I set out for the airport, I had penned down a piece where I was trying to advise the state government to follow the rule of law. And what is the rule of law? You see, people tend to confuse this matter. I was a political appointee as at the time this whole matter started. And so to that extent, I am conversant with the issues. Now, what are the issues for the benefit of those watching us this morning? An election was conducted. After the election was conducted, before the election was conducted, PDP went to court. Another party called APP, Action People's Party, also went to court. Now, after the conduct of the election, the Federal High Court delivered a judgment on November 25th, 2022, based on the suit filed by the PDP. And the judgment was to nullify the election. Now, based on that, the governor was sworn in on November 27th, 2022. And on that day, as he was being sworn in, he issued an executive order sacking the council chairman based on the judgment that PDP had gotten on the 25th of November. Now, the APP judgment, which the PDP are trying to cling on to, came on the 30th of November. So by implication, what it means is that the PDP judgment, which came earlier, November 25th, it was on the basis of that the governor sacked all the council chairmen. Now, you and I know that in election matters, the decision of a court of instance cannot be a final decision. And so ordinarily, I would have expected the governor to allow the matter to run its full course. But rather than allow the matter on its full course, the governor issued an executive order to sack the council officials based on the judgment the PDP got on the 25th of November. And so it is this judgment that the APC had gone ahead to challenge at the appeal court. And when the appeal court looked at the relief sought by the APC, I think about 8 or 9 of the reliefs, and one of them was specific the APC asked that each SAC council chairman be reinstated. And the Court of Appeal looked at all the relief and said that the appeal was meritorious and is hereby allowed. The court did not say that the appeal is allowed in part. You know, usually in legal terms, when they say appeal is allowed in part, the court will go ahead to list some of the grounds that it agreed with and those it did not agree with. But in this matter, the court said that the appeal is allowed. And so if the appeal is allowed, by implication, what it means that all the relief sought by APC was accepted. And it was based on that the APC appealed to security operatives to help enforce the court judgment. Now, after enforcing the court judgment, PDP came up to say that there was a judgment by the APP. Now, don't forget that both the issue in the suit by the APP and that of PDP are similar in nature. And so, even that APP ruling, which was dismissed at the appeal court, I am aware that the APC has gone ahead to file an application for the relisting of that matter, and it is allowed in law. Now, so by implication, what it means that that particular matter is still pending in court. So as at this morning, the only valid judgment that we have in the face of the law is the one delivered on February 10th, 2025.
But I mean, whilst you have this position, what we've seen is there have been, even on the show here yesterday and the day before, different sides, you know, different interpretations that individuals have alluded to the judgment from the both parties, from the APP as well. But shouldn't a better option that should have been going to the court to ask for the interpretation of the judgment, as opposed to trying to take the law into one's hands? Because it would seem that that's what's at play here. Individuals trying to take the law into their hands by trying to interpret or enforce what they think the judgment, the spirit of the judgment is. Shouldn't it have been a better idea to go to the court for the interpretation of this judgment?
Well, I think today, the #1 chief law officer of the country is the Attorney General and Minister of Justice. And as I speak, he has spoken on the matter. I am sure his response was based on a motion moved on the floor of the House of Reps by Honorable Bamidele Salam of the PDP, who is incidentally from Osun State. They called on the AGF to intervene, and the AGF has intervened. He has given his ruling. Now,
the AGF
if you ask me, go to court now. As it is today, it is PDP that should approach the court, probably the Supreme Court.
I mean, people will argue with you and say, you know, the AGF just gave an opinion. It wasn't based on any law. He said, my advice is that this election should not take place. It wasn't backed by any legal jargons or anything. But my question to you is, like, moving forward, it's dragged on for too many years and it's taken a different dimension. Like what we saw on Monday, 6 people died. There are going to be elections tomorrow. There's still a lot of court cases. What would be a suitable solution and way forward for you to get out of this conundrum we currently find ourselves in Osun State?
Thank you very much. Let me say this. The opinion from the AGF's office cannot be regarded as a mere opinion. And I'll give you one instance because of time. When we had issue in Kogi under the former President Buhari's administration over issue concerning the death of the man who had just won an election, but which, in the opinion of the electoral body, the election was not conclusive. The AGF issued a position that the APC could replace the candidate. And that position eventually was what was adopted. You see, the AGF, ordinarily, if they had allowed the constitutional amendment that was proposed during the 8th National Assembly, which by virtue of the fact that I was a media consultant to the Senate Committee on Constitutional Review then, I was privy to, perhaps we won't be having issues over it. In that amendment, we tried to separate the office of the Minister of Justice from that of the Attorney General of the Federation, so that people don't impute politics or read political meanings into their position. For me, I don't think that the position of the Attorney General is not backed by law. Don't forget, I told you earlier that Section 38 of the Electoral Act said it clearly that once a matter is decided against the occupier of a certain office that had been declared by the electoral body as the winner, that the person will continue to enjoy the benefits of that office until the matter is finally dispensed with. But in this case, the Osun State government did not allow the matter to be finally dispensed with before it took action. So going forward, I will suggest very strongly that if the governor could benefit from the same gesture when his election was annulled by the election petition tribunal, nobody sacked him from the office. He remained in the office. He appealed the judgment to the appeal court up to the Supreme Court. It was after the Supreme Court that everybody kept mute over the matter. So I will suggest that he should allow these local government council officials to remain and then approach the next court, which is the Supreme Court, because if he goes ahead to conduct the election tomorrow, I can assure you that we are inviting anarchy, and I think it's avoidable, because if he goes ahead to conduct the election tomorrow, those who will come out from that election will also claim, ownership of the offices. And you and I know that once such things happen, there's bound to be crisis. And let me also add that I am also aware that there are a series of suits even challenging the competence of the chairman of the Osun State Electoral Commission. He's my very good friend. I know as a fact that he's a PDP card-carrying member. And so the APC has also gone to challenge his appointments as the chairman of the electoral body that wants to conduct tomorrow's election.
All right. It just feels like it's a maze that we keep turning around and around in circles in, and we don't even know what the way out is. Whilst on the one hand, we're fighting for the autonomy of the local governments, what the local government structure looks like is another conversation to be had. Pinga?
Yes, indeed. Quite a lot to unpack. But we would like to say thank you to you, Mr. Omipidan. We're out of time.
I agree with you.
Yes.
We can only have a good local government autonomy if we go back to the Constitution, because you see, the same Constitution gives the state power to administer over local government. So by implication, what it means is that the state could tinker with the local government law at any time it wants. So fundamentally, some section of the Constitution has to be amended if local government must enjoy the type of autonomy we want them to enjoy.
Thank you so much, Mr. Ismail Omipidan, for your time and taking time to honor our invitation. We do appreciate your insights on the subject. Thank you.